We're diving into one of the most talked about issues in circulation history, the 1964 D Mint mark Lincoln 1 cent. A coin struck at the legendary United States Mint facility in Denver during one of the most turbulent years in modern American coinage, but this is not just about a coin. This is about possibility. It's about opportunity hiding in plain sight. It's about how ordinary Americans between 30 and 65 are turning pocket change into serious money. And yes, it's about whether you might be holding one of these hidden treasures without even knowing it. Act 1 begins in 1964. America was changing. The nation was mourning the loss of John F. Kennedy. Silver prices were rising. Coin shortages were spreading. The U.S. Mint was under intense pressure to produce more coins than ever before. In fact, 1964 would become one of the highest mintage years in American history. The Denver Mint struck over 3 billion Lincoln cents that year. 3 billion. That sounds like an ocean of pennies. And most of them are worth exactly 1 cent today. But here's where things get interesting. When production ramps up at that scale, mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes equal money. Now pause for a second. Have you ever dumped out a jar of old coins and thought, there's no way anything valuable is in here? What if that assumption is costing you thousands? The 1964 D Lincoln cent was struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the classic bronze composition before the switch to zinc cores in 1982. That alone makes them heavier and more desirable to collectors. But the real value lies in errors and exceptional condition. Let's talk about errors that can turn this humble penny into a serious payday. First, the double die varieties. While the most famous double die cent is from 1955, certain 1964 D cents show noticeable doubling in the lettering and date. When you see strong separation in Liberty or in God We Trust, that's not damage. That's a minting anomaly. And collectors pay attention. Then there are repunched mint marks. In 1964, mint marks were still hand-punched into the dies. That means the small d below the date could sometimes be punched twice at slightly different angles. Under magnification, this creates a shadow or doubled effect. Subtle? Yes. Valuable? Absolutely. Off-center strikes. Clipped planchets. Die cracks. Cuts. Each of these errors tells a story of mechanical stress inside the mint. And each one can multiply the value of your coin dramatically. Now here's where excitement meets urgency. In circulated condition, a normal 1964 D penny might sell for a few cents to a few dollars depending on copper demand. But in uncirculated mint state grades, MS65, MS66, even MS67, values can rise into the hundreds and sometimes thousands at auction, especially if the coin displays blazing red luster, and when you combine pristine condition with a dramatic mint error. That's where the market heats up. Collectors are not casual about quality. A certified high-grade 1964 D error cent authenticated by a top grading service can command serious bids in competitive auctions. Why? Because demand remains strong for high-grade pre-1982 copper cents. Supply in top condition is shrinking. Time removes coins from circulation every year. Let me ask you something important. When was the last time you checked your old coin rolls? Your inherited collection? Your father's tackle box? Your mother's sewing drawer? Are you absolutely sure you're not overlooking a rare high-grade piece? This is where fear becomes motivation. Coins are lost every day. Scratched. Cleaned improperly. Spent unknowingly. Every damaged coin reduces the surviving population of high-quality examples. That scarcity quietly pushes premium specimens higher in value. Now imagine this scenario. You're sorting through a jar on a Sunday afternoon. You notice a 1964 D cent that looks unusually bright. The details are sharp. Lincoln's cheek shows almost no wear. The wheat ears on the reverse stand bold and defined. You tilt it under light and see a flash of red brilliance. Do you toss it back? Or do you lean in closer? Here's your pattern interrupt. If you're still ignoring pennies, you might want to stop using them as paperweights. Act 2 is where opportunity meets strategy. Owning a potentially valuable coin is one thing. Knowing how to turn it into money is another. You've probably asked yourself, how to sell old rare coins. How to sell coins properly. How to make money from coins instead of just collecting them. From pocket change to millions, is that realistic? It starts with knowledge and verification. First, never clean your coin. Cleaning destroys value faster than almost anything else. Collectors want originality. Even natural toning is preferable to artificial shine. Second, consider professional grading. Reputable third-party grading companies authenticate and encapsulate coins, giving buyers confidence. That certification often increases sale price significantly. Third, research recent auction results. Look at what high-grade 1964D cents with similar errors have sold for. Not asking prices. Sold prices. That's the real market. Fourth, choose the right selling venue. Major auction houses specializing in rare coins can expose your coin to national and international buyers. Online marketplaces can work too, but presentation, certification, and timing matter. Have you ever wondered how some sellers consistently get top dollar while others barely break even? It's positioning. It's storytelling. It's credibility. A certified, well-photographed, properly described 1964D error cent placed in a competitive auction environment can attract bidding wars, and bidding wars create maximum dollar outcomes. Act 3 is where vision takes over. This is where we connect everything. The 1964D Lincoln cent represents more than copper and metal. It represents awareness. It represents financial literacy hiding in everyday objects. It represents the possibility that wealth doesn't always arrive in obvious packages. Think about this. Billions were made. Millions were spent. But only a fraction survive today in superb condition. An even smaller fraction carry valuable mint errors. That shrinking supply fuels collector demand year after year. What if the coin sitting in your home right now could fund a vacation? Pay off a bill? Seed an investment? Or simply give you the thrill of turning knowledge into profit? How to sell old and rare coins in the USA and its value in auction shops. Start local if you must, but think national. Coin shows, certified dealers, established auction houses, these platforms bring serious buyers. Ask questions. Request appraisals. Compare offers. Stay informed. How to make money from coins consistently. Develop an eye for condition. Focus on key dates and errors. Preserve quality. Study auction trends. Treat it like an asset class, not a hobby alone. And yes, from pocket change to millions is rare, but pocket change to thousands? That happens more often than most people realize. Let me bring this full circle. In 1964, during a year of national change and unprecedented coin production, the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies. Most are ordinary. Some are extraordinary. The difference lies in tiny details invisible to the careless eye but obvious to the informed one. That the market rewards the informed. So tonight, before you dismiss that jar of coins, ask yourself one final question. What if opportunity is already in your possession? What if the 1964D Lincoln cent in your drawer carries a premium because of a subtle doubling, a repunched mint mark, a blazing red uncirculated surface? Imagine reaching into an old jar of pocket change tonight, and pulling out a coin worth more than your monthly mortgage. Imagine discovering that a single copper penny, overlooked for decades, could be the quiet key to a powerful financial breakthrough. What if the next time you open that dusty coin box in your drawer, you are not just holding spare change, but holding opportunity? Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1970D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that most Americans have seen. A coin that many have spent without a second thought. And yet, under the right conditions, with the right error, this humble penny can command astonishing money in today's market. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will see your pocket change differently. You will understand how collectors think, how auctions work, how to sell old rare coins in the USA, and how ordinary people have transformed overlooked pennies into five-figure windfalls. From pocket change to millions, it starts with knowledge. The year 1970 was a time of transition in America. The Lincoln cent had already been circulating for over 6 decades, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 1970, millions upon millions of these pennies were being produced, including those struck at the Denver Mint facility, identified by the small D mint mark below the date dot on the surface. A 1970 D Lincoln penny seems ordinary. It's made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. Billions were minted. You might be thinking, how could something so common be valuable? That's exactly what most people think. And that belief is where opportunity hides. Here's where the story turns. Within that massive production run, a small number of coins were struck with dramatic and desirable errors. And in the world of coin collecting, errors are not mistakes, they are treasures. The most famous and highly sought-after variety is the 1970 D double die obverse. This error shows visible doubling on the inscriptions, especially on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Now pause for a moment. Have you ever looked closely at the lettering on your old pennies? Have you ever tilted them under a bright light? Or have you simply assumed they were worth 1 cent and moved on? That single moment of curiosity can separate someone who spends opportunity from someone who captures it.in high grades, especially those graded mint state 65 and above by respected grading services. The 1970 D double die can command thousands of dollars. Yes, thousands. And under extraordinary preservation and demand conditions, top examples have reached into the 5-figure range at major auctions. Why? Because collectors crave rarity. They crave eye appeal. They crave coins that tell a story of imperfection within mass production. And the market for error coins has grown significantly over the last decade, fueled by online auctions, registry set competitions, and a renewed interest among 30 to 65-year-old Americans looking for tangible assets. But let's talk about the deeper emotional trigger. Fear. How many valuable coins have been spent unknowingly? How many rare error pennies were dropped into vending machines or handed over at gas stations? How many are still sitting in jars, forgotten in attics, or buried in estate boxes? What if one of them is yours? This is not about gambling. This is about awareness. The 1970 D Lincoln penny with the right error and the right grade is in high demand. Collectors actively search for them. Auction houses promote them. Coin shops look for them. The question is not whether demand exists. The question is whether you will position yourself to benefit from it. Let's reset your attention for a second. Be honest. When was the last time you checked a penny before tossing it aside? Exactly. That's the pattern interrupt. The smallest denomination often carries the biggest surprise. Act 2 of our journey begins with understanding value. Condition is everything. A worn 1970 D penny without errors is generally worth only face value or a small premium for copper content. But an uncirculated example, bright red with full luster, free from scratches and damage, can command significantly more. Add a strong double die error, and the price multiplies. Professional grading services encapsulate coins in protective holders and assign numeric grades. High-grade examples, especially those designated as red, signal minimal oxidation and superior preservation. These are the coins that ignite bidding wars at auction. Now let's address the questions that are likely forming in your mind. How to sell old rare coins. How to sell coins in the USA safely and profitably. How to make money from coins. How to go from pocket change to millions. First, knowledge is your leverage. Study your coins carefully. Use magnification. Compare your coin to verified images of the 1970 D double die variety. If you suspect you have a valuable example, consider professional authentication. Certification builds trust. Trust builds bids. Second, choose your selling platform wisely. Major auction houses, reputable online marketplaces, and established coin dealers all play different roles. Auctions can create competitive bidding and drive prices upward when demand is strong. Coin shops offer immediate liquidity. Online platforms expand your reach nationwide, but here's the urgency. The market moves. Demand fluctuates. Economic conditions influence collector behavior. When copper prices rise or when collector enthusiasm surges, premiums can spike. Timing matters. Ask yourself this: would you rather discover your coin's value after the market peak has passed, or would you rather position yourself while demand is high? High-quality 1970s-era pennies have shown resilience because they combine historical relevance, visible minting drama, and collector recognition. They are not obscure experimental pieces. They are part of a beloved American series that spans generations, and let's talk about emotional excitement. There is something powerful about holding a coin that survived over 50 years in remarkable condition. Think about the journeys it may have taken. Think about the hands it passed through. Now imagine that coin becoming the down payment on a dream, funding a family vacation, or strengthening your investment portfolio. This is not fantasy. It is the result of informed action, but I must challenge you. Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to examine your change? Are you willing to ask questions at local coin shops? Are you willing to learn how auctions operate and how reserve prices work, how to sell old and rare coins in the USA and understand their value in auction shops? Start by getting multiple opinions. Compare offers. Research past auction results for similar graded examples. Transparency empowers you. The more data you gather, the stronger your negotiating position becomes. Let's connect the dots toward the end of this journey. In Act 1, we uncovered possibility hidden in plain sight. In Act 2, we explored value, grading, and selling strategies. Now in Act 3, we confront decision and action. You have two choices. You can finish this video and forget everything you heard, continuing to treat pennies as insignificant. Or you can see them as potential assets, deserving of attention and respect. Picture this scenario. You sort through a jar tonight. You find a 1970 penny with noticeable doubling on Liberty. You feel that pulse of excitement. You verify it carefully. You send it for grading. Months later, it returns encapsulated with a strong mint state grade. You consign it to auction. Bidders compete. The final hammer price shocks you. That transformation begins with awareness, and here's one more question. If millions of Americans ignore their coins, doesn't that increase the chances that overlooked rarities remain undiscovered? Scarcity grows when attention shrinks. That is the paradox. The 1970 Lincoln penny is not just a coin. It is a lesson in perception. Wealth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a change jar. Collectors continue to search. Dealers continue to buy. Auctions continue to set records for exceptional examples. The opportunity remains alive because so many people still underestimate the smallest denomination. So tonight, look at your pennies. Use a magnifier. Study the date. Examine the mint mark. Check the lettering. Ask yourself, could this be the one? How to make money from coins. Start by respecting them. How to sell old rare coins successfully. Start by understanding them. From pocket change to millions is not a myth. It is a pathway paved with patience, research, and decisive action. What if I told you that a simple 1-cent coin, a piece of copper you might have ignored in your pocket for decades, could quietly be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? What if the next time you open an old jar of change, you are not looking at pennies, but at opportunity? Today, we are diving deep into the 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin born in an era of economic uncertainty, yet now surrounded by serious collector demand and powerful auction results. Picture this. It is 1973. America is facing inflation, oil shocks, and financial pressure. Yet in the middle of that turbulence, the United States Mint continues producing one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln cent. The design by Victor David Brenner still carries the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. On the reverse, the classic wheat ears had already been replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial, giving the coin a modern yet patriotic presence. The 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and during that period, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark. That small detail, no letter beneath the date, makes many people overlook it. But here is where the story becomes powerful, because within this ordinary appearing coin lies extraordinary potential. Act 1 begins with awareness. Most people believe that only ancient coins or gold coins can be valuable. They think pennies are just pennies. But the coin market tells a different story. In 1973, hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents were produced in Philadelphia. That sounds common, doesn't it? And yet, condition is everything. Rarity is not only about mintage, it is about survival in pristine form. Over 50 years later, how many of those coins remain in flawless, uncirculated, high-grade condition? How many escaped scratches, wear, fading, or corrosion? Very few, and then there are errors. Mint errors are where excitement truly begins. Imagine a 1973 no-mint mark penny with a strong double-die obverse, where the letters "In Liberty" or "In God We Trust" show clear doubling. Imagine an off-center strike where the design is misaligned yet fully dated. Or a dramatic broad strike that escaped the collar during minting. These are not damaged coins. These are mistakes made during production, and collectors chase them with intensity. Why? Because errors are unpredictable, and unpredictability creates rarity. Now pause for a second. Have you checked your 1973 pennies closely? Or are they sitting unnoticed in a drawer? What if the coin you ignored last year is the coin someone else would pay serious money for today? This is where fear quietly enters the conversation. Fear of missing out. Fear of accidentally spending a coin that could have transformed your financial situation. It sounds dramatic, but it happens. Valuable coins slip back into circulation every day because people do not recognize them. Act 2 is about discovery and opportunity. The 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent in average circulated condition is worth face value. But we are not here for average. We are here for exceptional. In mint state grades, MS65, MS66, MS67, the value increases significantly. In top-tier grades certified by PCGS or NGC, auction prices have climbed into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars depending on eye appeal and strike quality. And when you combine a high grade with a dramatic mint error, the value can rise even further. Why does this happen? Because serious collectors compete. Coin collecting is not a casual hobby at the highest levels. It is an investment arena. Registry sets demand the finest known examples. Wealthy collectors want the best. When two determined buyers want the same top population coin, bidding wars happen. And bidding wars are where ordinary pennies become extraordinary assets. Now let me ask you something directly. How to sell old rare coins? How to start selling coins the right way? How to make money from coins instead of just collecting dust? How to turn pocket change into millions? It begins with knowledge. Knowledge is your leverage. First, examine your 1973 no-mint mark penny under magnification. Look for doubling in the date and lettering. Look for clean surfaces free from heavy marks. Look for strong luster, that cartwheel shine that rotates under light. If your coin looks unusually sharp and bright, you may have something worth grading. Second, never clean your coin. I repeat, never clean your coin. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Collectors pay for originality. A coin with original surfaces commands respect and higher bids. Third, consider professional grading. Submitting your coin to PCGS or NGC authenticates and assigns a grade, which dramatically increases buyer confidence. In the auction world, certified coins outperform raw coins again and again. Now let us talk about urgency. The coin market moves in cycles. Demand for Lincoln cents has been strong, especially as more investors diversify into tangible assets. Economic uncertainty often pushes people toward collectibles with historical value. The 1973 no-mint mark penny sits at a fascinating intersection, modern enough to be found, old enough to be scarce in top condition. how to sell old and rare coins in the USA and get maximum value in auction shops. The answer is strategic selling. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers regularly feature high-grade Lincoln cents. Online platforms such as eBay can also produce strong results, but only if your coin is graded and presented professionally. Local coin shops can offer quick liquidity, but auctions often generate higher competitive pricing, and here is a question you might be thinking: what if my coin is not perfect? Even mid-grade uncirculated examples have steady demand. The key is presentation and timing. A well-photographed, certified coin listed during strong market momentum can surprise you. Let us add a quick pattern interrupt. Imagine telling your friend you made serious money from a penny. They laugh. You show them the auction receipt. Suddenly, they are not laughing anymore. Funny how 1 cent can silence a room, right? Act 3 is transformation. This is where all the points connect. You started this video curious about a penny. Now you understand scarcity, grading, mint errors, auction dynamics, and collector psychology. But the real transformation is mindset. You begin to see coins not as loose change, but as hidden assets. From pocket changes to millions is not a fantasy phrase. It is a strategy. It starts with awareness, grows with education, and expands with action. The 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent represents possibility. Not every coin will be worth thousands, but every coin deserves inspection. Because you never know which one carries the premium combination of condition, eye appeal, and rarity. Ask yourself again. How to make money from coins? You build a system. You search bank rolls. You check estate sales. You examine inherited collections. You educate yourself on key dates and errors. You track auction results. You think like an investor, not a spender. How to sell old rare coins without being taken advantage of. Compare offers. Get multiple opinions. Use grading services. Study recent sold listings rather than asking prices. Knowledge protects profit, and here is the deeper emotional layer. Financial security. Freedom. The ability to turn overlooked objects into meaningful wealth. For viewers between 30 and 65, this is not about hype. It is about smart positioning. It is about recognizing that markets reward those who pay attention. The 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent may be sitting in millions of homes. But only a fraction are preserved in high mint state grades. Only a fraction contain dramatic mint errors. Only a fraction are certified and auctioned strategically. That fraction is where serious money lives. Do not let hesitation cost you opportunity. Do not assume small denomination equals small value. The coin market has proven the opposite again and again. History rewards the informed. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is sorting through an old jar of pennies. Maybe they will recognize a high-grade 1973 no-mint Mark cent. Imagine reaching into your pocket tonight, pulling out a simple penny, and discovering that it could be worth more than a luxury vacation, more than a brand new car, maybe even a life-changing windfall. Now let me ask you something that might make your heart skip a beat. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your change? Not glanced. Not tossed into a jar. Really looked? Today, we are diving into one of the most underestimated coins in American history, the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. A coin that most people ignore. A coin that millions have spent without a second thought. But in certain conditions, with certain errors, this ordinary copper piece has shocked collectors and commanded astonishing prices in today's competitive market. And if you are between 30 and 65, living in the United States, holding on to jars of old change, inherited coin albums, or forgotten rolls from the bank, this message is for you. Because what you don't know could be costing you thousands. Let's begin with the foundation. The 1978 Lincoln cent was struck during a time of economic transition in America. Inflation had shaken the decade. The country was adapting. And quietly, the United States Mint continued producing billions of pennies for daily commerce. Most 1978 pennies were produced in Philadelphia and carry no mint mark. That is normal. No mint mark in 1978 does not automatically mean rare. But here is where the story shifts, because within those billions, a small fraction left the mint with minting errors. And errors are where ordinary transforms into extraordinary. Have you ever heard the phrase, mistakes make money? In the world of rare coins, that phrase is not a joke. It is reality. Some 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cents have been discovered with dramatic off-center strikes. Others display double die obverse features, where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled due to a die misalignment during production. Some have broad strike errors, clipped planchets, or die cracks that create unusual raised lines across the surface, and here is where fear and urgency enter the conversation. What if you already had one of these error coins, and didn't know it? Think about that for a second. How many pennies have passed through your hands since 1978? Thousands? Tens of thousands? How many ended up in coffee cans, dresser drawers, or garage boxes? Let me reset your attention with a simple question. If someone handed you a lottery ticket for free, would you throw it away without checking the numbers? Of course not. Yet millions of Americans do exactly that with coins every day. Now let's talk about value, because I know that's what you're waiting for. In average circulated condition, a regular 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is worth face value. But in pristine, uncirculated condition graded MS 67 or higher by professional grading services, these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. When rare error varieties are involved, the numbers climb dramatically higher depending on severity and condition. Why? Because demand drives price. And demand for high-grade, error coins is stronger than ever. Wealthy collectors compete aggressively at auctions. Registry set builders fight to own the finest known examples. And investors increasingly view rare coins as tangible assets, protection against inflation and market volatility. Let me ask you something directly. Have you ever wondered how to sell old rare coins in the USA and get maximum value in an auction shop? Or how to make money from coins sitting in your home right now? Or how some collectors turn pocket change into serious wealth? Here's the truth. The coin market rewards knowledge and timing. If you discover a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with a strong visible error or in near-perfect condition, the first step is authentication and grading through respected third-party grading companies. Certification builds trust. Trust builds bidding wars. Bidding wars build price. Imagine your coin displayed under bright lights in a major auction catalog. Professional photos. Detailed descriptions. Collectors across the country scrolling, calculating, preparing to bid. The energy builds. The auctioneer calls the lot. Hands go up. Online bids flash across the screen. The price climbs, and you're sitting there thinking, that used to be in my change jar. Exciting, isn't it? But let's structure this journey through a powerful three-act framework. Act 1 is discovery. You, the everyday American, begin examining coins instead of ignoring them. You slow down. You study the date. You inspect the lettering. You tilt the coin under light looking for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual thickness, or surface anomalies. This is the awakening moment. The realization that value hides in plain sight. Act 2 is tension. Doubt creeps in. Is this really an error? Is it damage? Is it worth grading? This is where many people stop. Fear whispers, it's probably nothing. But successful coin sellers push forward. They research. They compare images. They consult experts. They invest in grading when signs are strong. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the results exceed expectations dramatically. Act 3 is transformation. The coin is authenticated. The grade comes back high. The error is confirmed. Auction houses list it. Competitive bidding begins. And what started as a single overlooked penny becomes a financial opportunity. Now here's a humorous thought to reset your focus. If pennies could talk, how many would scream, "Don't spend me," before sliding across a gas station counter? let's connect this to your bigger goals. You've searched questions like how to sell old rare coins, how to sell coins safely, how to make money from coins. From pocket change to millions, is it possible? The answer is yes, but not through fantasy. Through discipline, education, and action, the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent represents a gateway coin. It teaches you to examine condition. It trains your eye to spot anomalies. It introduces you to grading scales, auction dynamics, and collector psychology, and here's something important. High-demand coins move quickly in strong markets. When rare high-grade examples surface, serious buyers pay serious money. That's why urgency matters. The longer you wait to evaluate your collection, the greater the risk that you overlook opportunity. Are you holding inherited coins from parents or grandparents? Have you checked every single penny dated 1978? Have you separated circulated from uncirculated examples? Have you examined them under magnification, because one sharp, blazing red uncirculated 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent with a strong strike and flawless surfaces can command remarkable premiums compared to worn brown examples, and when it comes to error coins, condition multiplies value. A dramatic off-center strike with full date visible. That attracts aggressive bidding. A double die that is clear to the naked eye. Even better, auction shops across the United States continuously seek fresh material. They market nationally and internationally. When they promote a rare high-grade or error 1978 Lincoln cent, it enters a competitive ecosystem of collectors who have been waiting for that exact piece. This is not theory. It is supply and demand in motion. Let's pause and ask something practical. How do you sell old and rare coins in the USA and maximize auction value? You avoid rushing to the nearest pawn shop. You avoid cleaning the coin, never clean coins. You document condition. You consult reputable dealers. You submit promising pieces for grading. Then you choose established auction platforms with proven track records. Professional presentation transforms perception. Perception influences bidding intensity. Bidding intensity determines final price, and here's the emotional trigger you need to hear: regret is more painful than effort. Years from now, will you regret not checking your coins carefully? Will you regret ignoring that jar on the shelf? Or will you be the person who took initiative and discovered hidden value? The American dream has always rewarded those who pay attention to opportunity. Sometimes that opportunity looks like a startup company. Sometimes it looks like real estate. And sometimes, it looks like a 1-cent coin minted in 1978. Let's connect the beginning to the end. At the start, I asked when you last truly examined your pennies. Now you understand why that question matters. The 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is not just currency. It is potential. It is overlooked possibility. It is a reminder that wealth does not always arrive in obvious packages. So tonight, open that drawer. Pour out that jar. Separate your 1978 pennies. Inspect them carefully. Feel the weight of possibility in your hand. What if the key to a more prosperous future isn't locked inside a bank vault, but hiding in a dusty coffee can in your garage? Today, we are diving deep into the 1979 mint Mark Lincoln cent, a coin many Americans have seen, but very few truly understand. And if you stay with me until the end, you may never look at your spare change the same way again. In 1979, the United States Mint was striking millions upon millions of Lincoln cents at its Denver facility. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, a branch known for producing coins that circulate across the nation. At first glance, the 1979 D penny appears ordinary. On the obverse, the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln gazes steadily forward. On the reverse, the classic wheat design had already been replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, a familiar image to generations of Americans. Ordinary, right? That's exactly what most people think, but here's the twist. Ordinary coins can become extraordinary under the right conditions. A small minting error. A subtle misalignment. A double die. A dramatic off-center strike. A rare transitional anomaly. These are not just technical terms. They are the difference between a penny worth 1 cent, and a coin worth a life-changing amount of money. Act 1 begins with discovery. Picture this. It's a quiet evening. You're sorting through old coin rolls you picked up from the bank. Or maybe you're cleaning out your parents' attic. You find a handful of 1979 pennies. You almost toss them aside. After all, billions were made. But then you remember something you heard: not all 1979 pennies are created equal. You lean closer. You grab a magnifying glass. Your heart starts to beat just a little faster. Could this be one of the rare error varieties collectors are searching for right now? And here's where excitement meets urgency. The coin market is not static. It moves. It breathes. It responds to demand. When collectors identify a high-grade 1979 Lincoln cent with a significant mint error, bidding wars can erupt in major auction houses. Why? Because condition plus rarity equals value. A sharply struck example in near-perfect mint state condition, especially with a dramatic and verified error, can command astonishing prices in today's market. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you spent a penny without looking at it? How many jars of coins are sitting in American homes right now? And how many of those contain overlooked treasures? This is not fantasy. This is how discoveries happen. Quietly. Unexpectedly. In ordinary homes, Act 2 is about realization. Once you understand that a 1979 Lincoln cent can hold serious value, everything changes. You begin to see coins differently. You begin to ask smarter questions. How do I know if my 1979 penny has a valuable error? What exactly should I look for? How do I make money from coins instead of letting them sit idle? Let's talk about the types of errors that create high demand. A strong double die error, where design elements appear duplicated due to misalignment during hubbing, can dramatically increase collector interest. An off-center strike, where the coin's design is not perfectly aligned within the planchet, can turn a simple cent into a conversation piece. A broad strike, clipped planchet, or wrong planchet error elevates scarcity. And when such a coin survives in pristine, uncirculated condition, the market responds aggressively. Condition is king. In the coin world, grading matters. Professional grading services authenticate and assign numerical grades that can transform perception into proof. A raw coin might sell for modest value. The same coin, certified in high mint state, could multiply in price. That's not exaggeration. That's the power of trust in the marketplace. But here's the emotional trigger many ignore: fear. What if you already had one, and unknowingly spent it? What if it slipped through your fingers because no one ever told you what to look for? That fear should not paralyze you. It should energize you. It should motivate you to check now, not later. Because coins are still circulating. And the window of opportunity is open to those who act. Now let's reset for a second. Quick question. If someone offered you a 1-cent coin in exchange for $1,000, would you laugh, or would you inspect it carefully? Exactly. Act 3 is about action and transformation. You've discovered the potential. You understand the errors. Now the question becomes, how to sell old rare coins in the USA and its value in auction shop environments. How to sell old and rare coins in a way that maximizes profit. How to move from pocket change to millions. First, knowledge is leverage. Before selling, research comparable auction results for certified 1979 Lincoln cents with similar grades and errors. Auction archives reveal real transaction prices, not guesses. This tells you the current market value. And when we talk about maximum dollar, we're talking about coins that combine rarity, eye appeal, and strong demand. In competitive auctions, such coins can attract multiple bidders determined to own that specific example. Second, authentication builds confidence. Submitting your coin to a reputable grading service can dramatically increase buyer trust. A certified coin becomes liquid. It becomes easier to sell at higher levels because buyers know exactly what they're getting. Third, choose the right selling platform. Major auction houses specializing in numismatics connect your coin to serious collectors nationwide. Online auction platforms provide reach and speed. Reputable coin dealers offer immediate liquidity. Each path has advantages. The key is aligning your strategy with your financial goal. Are you seeking quick cash? Or are you willing to wait for premium auction exposure? Let me ask you directly. How to sell old rare coins if you don't even know what you own? How to make money from coins if you never take them out of storage? How to sell coins strategically instead of emotionally? The answer is simple but powerful: educate, authenticate, and position. Imagine the transformation. Today, you check your change casually. Tomorrow, you inspect it with intention. You begin visiting estate sales. You request penny rolls from banks. You network with collectors. You learn grading standards. What once felt like spare change becomes a treasure hunt. And treasure hunts reward the persistent. There is something profoundly empowering about understanding that wealth can hide in plain sight. The 1979 D Lincoln cent represents more than copper and zinc. It represents overlooked opportunity. It represents the idea that value is not always obvious. And in a world where people chase complex investments, sometimes the simplest objects carry surprising upside. Now, let's connect the dots. In Act 1, you discovered possibility. In Act 2, you realized the mechanics of value. In Act 3, you took action. And here's the deeper connection: the coin itself hasn't changed. What changed is you. Your awareness. Your urgency. Your willingness to act before the next person does, because here's the reality. High-grade error coins do not stay hidden forever. As collectors become more educated, as social media spreads knowledge, as auction records set new benchmarks, competition increases. The earlier you position yourself, the stronger your advantage. That's urgency. Not panic. Strategic urgency. And yes, while not every 1979 D penny will fund a mansion, the right one in exceptional condition with a verified error can command impressive sums in today's active collector market. Demand for unique, eye-catching errors remains strong because collectors crave differentiation. They want coins that stand out. They want stories attached to their acquisitions. Picture yourself holding that story. Imagine reaching into your pocket tonight, pulling out a simple penny, and discovering that the small copper coin you almost tossed into a jar could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. What if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 2015 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent could be the silent opportunity hiding in plain sight? Would you look at your change differently? Would you slow down before spending it? Today, we are diving deep into the United States 2015 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent, a modern coin that most Americans overlook. Yet in the world of serious collectors, subtle mint errors and exceptional conditions can transform everyday currency into highly demanded treasures. This is not fantasy. This is strategy. This is awareness. And for those between 30 and 65 who are ready to turn knowledge into financial leverage, this could be your wake-up call. Let's begin with perspective. The Lincoln cent has been an American icon since 1909, first honoring President Abraham Lincoln. Over the decades, its design has evolved, reflecting national pride and history. In 2015, the obverse still carried Lincoln's profile, while the reverse featured the Union Shield design introduced in 2010. At first glance, the 2015 penny seems ordinary. It was struck in large numbers, especially in Philadelphia Mint, where coins typically bear no mint mark. That's right. No mint mark does not mean rare by default. It simply indicates production in Philadelphia. Now pause. Here's the twist. While millions were struck, not all coins are created equal. In modern coinage, condition and error are everything. A 2015 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent in circulation condition is worth 1 cent. But in pristine, high-mint state grades, certified by top grading services, values can rise dramatically. And when rare mint errors appear, the market changes instantly. Let me ask you something. Have you ever closely inspected the pennies in your change? Have you looked for double dies? Off-center strikes? Die cracks? BIE errors between the B and E of liberty? Or are you spending potential profits without even noticing? Act 1 is about awareness. Most people ignore their coins. They treat them as noise. But collectors treat them as signals. A 2015 no-mint mark penny with a strong double die on the obverse, where the lettering or date appears doubled under magnification, can command impressive prices. Dramatic off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment during minting, are highly desirable. Broad strikes without a defined rim, clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is missing, or striking through errors where foreign material altered the surface, these are the anomalies that drive demand, and here is where excitement enters. In recent years, certified examples of high-grade 2015 Philadelphia Lincoln cents in MS67 and above have achieved significant auction results. Why? Because modern coins in near-perfect condition are surprisingly difficult to find. Tiny contact marks disqualify most coins from elite grades. So when one survives untouched, collectors compete aggressively. Imagine discovering that a penny you pulled from a bankroll grades MS68. Do you realize how few coins reach that level? Do you understand what registry set collectors are willing to pay to secure the finest known examples? Act 2 is about transformation. You move from casual observer to strategic hunter. Instead of tossing coins into jars, you examine them under magnification. Instead of assuming modern equals worthless, you research auction records. Instead of guessing, you certify. The coin market rewards precision. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln cent becomes valuable when it meets specific criteria: blazing red luster, flawless surfaces, razor-sharp strike, or a documented mint error. In top-tier condition, auction prices can reach into the hundreds and sometimes exceed $1,000 depending on grade and demand cycles. Error examples can push values even higher when dramatic and authenticated. Now let's inject urgency. The longer you wait, the fewer pristine examples remain undiscovered. Every year, coins are scratched, cleaned, damaged, or lost. High-grade populations tighten. Registry competition intensifies. What does that mean for you? Opportunity favors the informed and the swift, but perhaps you're wondering, how to sell old rare coins. How to start selling coins professionally. How to make money from coins consistently instead of randomly. How to go from pocket change to millions. How to sell old and rare coins in the USA and understand their value in an auction shop. These are powerful questions. And they deserve powerful answers. First, knowledge is currency. Study realized auction prices through respected auction houses. Observe trends. Notice that coins with certified grades from reputable third-party grading companies command far stronger bids than raw coins. Authentication builds trust. Trust builds competition. Competition builds price. Second, presentation is everything. A coin in original, untouched condition with natural red color will always outperform a cleaned coin. Never clean your coins. Cleaning destroys microscopic surfaces and collapses value instantly. Think of it like sanding a classic car before appraisal. You erase history. Third, choose your selling channel wisely. Major auction platforms attract global bidders. Local coin shops offer quick liquidity but often at wholesale levels. Coin shows allow direct negotiation. Online marketplaces provide reach but require reputation. The smartest sellers evaluate timing and audience. Here's a humorous reset for you. If you're still using your penny jar as a doorstop, we need to talk. That jar might be whispering opportunity while you're ignoring it during commercial breaks. Act 3 is about elevation. This is where vision meets execution. You're no longer just checking coins, you're building a strategy. Bankroll hunting becomes systematic. You request uncirculated rolls from financial institutions. You inspect each coin carefully. You separate high-luster examples. You document potential errors. You submit the strongest candidates for grading, and then something powerful happens. Instead of asking, can I make money from coins, you start asking, how can I scale this? Can you reinvest profits into better acquisitions? Can you attend auctions targeting underpriced lots? Can you network with dealers and collectors who share insights? Fear is a motivator too. Imagine discovering years from now that you once held a rare error coin and spent it on coffee. That regret is preventable. Awareness eliminates that pain, excitement fuels momentum. Every roll searched becomes a treasure hunt. Every magnified inspection becomes a possibility. Every auction watched becomes a lesson in demand psychology. Urgency sharpens action. The market does not wait. Registry collectors compete fiercely for top population coins. As grading populations stabilize, the finest examples become benchmarks. Demand does not disappear, it concentrates. Connect this to the bigger picture. Wealth rarely arrives in dramatic explosions. It accumulates through informed decisions. The 2015 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent represents something greater than its face value. It represents overlooked opportunity. It represents the power of attention. It represents the discipline to see what others dismiss. From pocket change to millions is not a fantasy slogan. It is a mindset. Every major collection began with a single coin. Every respected dealer started by learning grading standards. Every profitable seller once asked the same questions you're asking right now.